Hello, welcome to another edition of Webinars from Anywhere. We're going to begin in just a couple moments to let everyone log into the audience. Quick break for 1 minute and we'll get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Webinars from Anywhere, presented by Olympus Controls. I'm Silas Robertson, and I'll be your moderator today. I'm excited to get in front of you a product from Robotiq called Insights in this edition. And we have quite a few panelists for you today. Catherine Leclerc, she's got a master's degree in robotics. She's the product owner of this Insight product that we'll be going through today. She'll be presenting to you. We have Marc Antoine, who's an integration coach, so really some great experience to talk about. When we use this product with your robot application. We have George Bailey, another person remote these days. He's down in San Diego. He's going to be demonstrating with you, as well as Lance Price, who's located in Portland. So multiple remote locations. We have Josh Davis. He's going to be a lead-off presenter for us and really kind of set up the webinar for us. He's based in Denver, and then we will continue through the process and give you some examples. Why are we doing these webinars? We really want you to progress your factories, actively participate in some online community, and also some perseverance through this kind of tough time. And just remember, we have some other webinars available to you: robotics, motion, vision, IIoT, all available through this program. A little bit of housekeeping here. If you do have a question, please raise your hand or hit the question mark, and I'll be able to answer those in the background. If I can't answer them for you, we'll gather those questions and present to the panel at the end for the Q&A session. This session is going to go about 30 minutes. It does tend to spill over into the 45-minute range with Q&A and as the presentation goes, if there is more questions to be asked. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Josh Davis, and he's going to start our presentation off. Thanks again. Enjoy another episode.
Fantastic. Thank you, Silas. First and foremost, thank you to the Olympus team. Just to piggyback on some of your comments there, Silas, these webinars from anywhere, I think obviously we live in the COVID world right now. It's a great way for us to connect, and whether or not it's learning some new technology, networking with other folks after these webinars, it's a great way to get us all together right now. So really appreciate that, and appreciate the floor here for the afternoon. I think what we're going to talk about here with Insights is, kind of a broader picture that we're all experiencing right now. A lot of folks are looking at, how do I keep my facilities up and running, and how do I keep, kind of looking at future investments in automation or just better ROI for my facilities. And cobots are definitely a piece to that puzzle. And, we've been in this industry for about 10 plus years now. So we know a lot of the ins and outs and the ways to de-risk your applications. And, Insights is another product of ours that we're really basically directing towards this initiative. And it's a software platform, that I'm not going to dive too much into. I'll let Catherine and Marc be the experts in that. But essentially, we're just looking at ways of de-risking your cobots that are out in the field, or if you're looking to make an investment in something that we can help with. So just to give a quick introduction here, So again, I'm the channel sales manager for Robotiq. I cover the Western region. I'll briefly be telling you a little bit about Robotiq and who we are for those folks who are not aware. Then I'll kick things off to Catherine, where she's going to talk more in depth about why Insights, what the product can do for you, so on and so forth. And then we'll kick things off to Marc-Antoine, who will go through a virtual remote demo and showcase what the software platform looks like and show you how to manage your KPIs and what your backups look like and certain different functionalities of the software itself. And then we'll kick things off to Lance and George to show us some remote access functions that I think will be pretty unique for you all to see if you haven't seen it before. So very briefly about Robotiq, who we are, what we do. We're one of the world's leading manufacturers in the end-of-arm tooling solutions space. So our company mission is we want to free human hands from repetitive tasks. And if you look at our focus as a company, we help manufacturers overcome their workforce challenges by enabling them to install robots on their own. So essentially, to wrap that up, what we do is we build plug-and-play components that really take the ease of deploying a cobot and taking the challenge out of the end effector side and the programming side. So, why do we do that, right? Well, we know that the challenge is not necessarily in the robot. You know what your payload is, you know what your speed is, you know what your reach is. All that's given to you, so you can kind of check the box, yes or no, at that point, whether or not it'll work or it won't work. Really, what we see the challenge is it was with the cobot cell itself, right? So if you're interfacing with a machine or you have additional tooling or sensors, part feeding, part presentation to a robot's extremely important. Then you have your human in the loop, right? So you're looking at the person who's tending to that robot. They need to, understand how to program the robot. They need to, get training, and then you look at safeties and risk assessment, so on and so forth. That's where a lot of the potential challenges come into play. So we certainly don't want your end effector to slow you down in that space. So we have these kind of out-of-the-box solutions that are ready to go, but we also have software plugins like Insights that can de-risk some of these additional issues you may run down in the road. So with that being said, I'll kick things off to Catherine Leclerc, and she will kind of take it from here and describe more about Insights and answer any of your guys' questions that you may have after.
Thank you, Josh. Yes, so to explain to you a little bit more about why Insights is a product we launched and offered our ecosystem is, well, as Josh mentioned, it's a web platform, and its purpose is really to help manufacturers connect their robot to the cloud. And to do that is to help them integrate faster and maximize production. So it all came from the Lean Robotics book that our CEO wrote a little while ago. And its whole philosophy is a methodology for simplifying cobot cell deployment. So the goal here is to help people start production faster. And we realized that one of the key principles of that approach is to minimize waste. So just to give you a little bit of background, so there's three phases, if you want, in cobot cell deployment. The first part is the design, the second is the integrate, and the third is operate. And throughout all of these phases, you have that added value and non-added value tasks. And really, for the design phase, it could be searching for product information, waiting for quotes, waiting for material to be delivered. And then at some point, you're ready for integration. And when integration starts, maybe you have questions on how to connect your hardware, how to program your tasks. Sometimes you need on-site support. And then you get your first cell into production. And then when operation starts, maybe you need to retweak the programs, deal with unexpected stops. There's recurrent defects that you want to address or clear bottlenecks in order to increase cycle time. So all of these are non-added value tasks, meaning that it doesn't bring any additional value to the customer. So at some point we realized that a lot of these wastes were centered around waiting for information, waiting for external help, either from a colleague, from a distributor. So the why of Insights is really to give people, all the people involved in the success of the robotic cell implementation, the tools to have all of the information and the help they need when they need it. So the operators, the automation engineer, the management, the distributors also. So give them the information and the power to act from anywhere at any time. So really, when you start using Insights from the beginning of the integration, what you do is you address all of these wastes during integration and operation, and it allows you to start your robot production earlier, and in the end, what we want, have more production time. So this is a industrial Internet of Things solution. So what you're doing here is monitor your production in order to take faster and more informed decisions and get faster support from anyone, anywhere, at any time. But everyone knows it's the future, but we realize that very few people actually know how to do it. Typically, when you go through the usual ways of IIOT, sometimes it takes substantial upfront investments, both in time and in money. And there's always the fear of unknown. So there's a little bit of resistance. We see that from the IT department. But in the current situation, the thing is, status quo is not an option anymore. And we see it, we all work from remote. And we need to access the data, those data, in order to take good decisions. So what Insights is really a plug and play IoT for universal robot. So I insist on plug and play because it's really fast to set up. So it can be set up within minutes. It's flexible for different kind of users, and it's really secure. So it's the same kind of security as you would find for financial services online. It's hosted on Amazon Web Services, and all of the data is encrypted. So it's really safe to use. It costs a fraction of the cost of developing it do-it-yourself solution at the plant. It's really easy to use, and you have all-in-one a platform with all-in-one features that you need. So you have the live monitoring of your production. You have historical data if you want to perform analysis and optimization of your production line. You've got the notifications and reports that can be sent to you immediately when there's an event, or reports periodically. And then you have all of the remote functionalities in order to take control of the robot and resolve a situation from remote. So this is just to explain to you a little bit the why of the product, and the best way to understand the product is to actually experience it. So I'm going to pass the microphone to Marc-Antoine at this time for a live demo.
Thank you, Catherine. So let's start with the platform. So as Catherine and Josh mentioned, this is a web page, a web interface. So the first thing to do will be to go into the application, so insightsapp.robotiq.com, and that's going to be the first page that you're going to get. So so what we see in here is basically all the robot that I'm connected with. So first thing first, we need to be connected to a robot. So we got this button here, so add robot. If I click on this one, so this is basically the steps that you're gonna need to go through to, it's basically a pairing process that you're gonna have to do with the robot. So if we start a pairing process, so that's where you're gonna enter the name, the time zone, the arms, a few info on your robot, and then you're gonna get a pairing code in here. From there, this pairing code, you're gonna need to use it with the robot. So on the teach pendant of the robot, you're gonna have to enter this code, and that's where the pairing process will be, and that's where you're gonna be able to see your robot into your dashboard. So the first page of the application. So from there, this is all the robot I'm paired at the moment. So for this overview, I'm gonna use the Insights demo here, which is basically a fake robot, but there's a lot of data in it, so it's really a good tool to use to show how it works and what are the functionalities. So first thing first, we're gonna go into we're gonna see the performance timeline. So this page is really there to monitor all the KPIs, so the key performance indicator. So we got a few things in here. So the first step here is the standard KPIs. So these KPI will always be in there. So we got utilization, efficiency, wait time, and disconnected. As you can see, there's number in there. And if we go below in here, so we can see really all the table associated with it. As you can see here, there's few colors. So if we hit the button legend, these are the program name that you have on the robot. So you can really see how much time you spend on each program, depending of the time frame that you want to look at. If you look at this one, so show operating hours. So if we click on this one, so we have 47% of utilization. If I click on this one, as you can see, we go into 16.5 hours a day, 5 days a week. So as you can see, the utilization went really up. So these KPI will now be monitored only with the operating times that you have. If I jump into the about section, so for the operating time, so the about will be where you're gonna set up your robot. So the shift, that's where you're gonna be able to set those. So 5 days a week, 16.5 hours a day. And these are all the other information on your robot, but that's really where you're gonna have to enter the operating time if you want to monitor the KPIs correctly, depending of the utilization that you are doing. From there, we have here cycle completed. And as you can see, we have in feed empty, stack completed, fail, and the graph in here is changing whatever the event I'm clicking. So these will be KPIs, custom KPIs. So we call them custom events that you're going to be able to create on your robot. So these basically are counters. So we on the program tree of the robot into the URT pendant, you're going to put a node in there called Insights. And you're going to be able to name it as you want. So for example, we can name it cycle completed. In this example, we have one called in feed empty, stack completed, and so on. These nodes basically in the program tree are basic counters. So when you're going to go through that node inside your program tree, inside your logic, we're going to add one to that specific counter, and that's where you're going to be able to monitor them into that web page. So from there, you can add as many custom events that you want, depending of the application. You can do pretty much what you want with that. From there, as you can see in here, we are in the monthly view. So if we see here, there's a red flag in there. So these are events that happen, for example, emergency stop, protective stop. So in this example, let's say I'm clicking on this one. As you can see, we jumped into the daily view, so you can see really every hours of the day. And then if I click again on this one, we can go up to the hourly view. And as you can see, there was here an emergency stop that happened at 7:31. So we can really see exactly what's happening on the cell. So in this specific example, so signals, there's only the emergency stop. But as Catherine mentioned, it's also you can also monitor the complete cell of the robot. So it's not only emergency stop from the robot, but you can monitor all the IOs from the other machine that are interacting with the robot inside your Robotiq cell. So for example, you have a CNC machine that is connected to the robot. There's input that are sending in and out, so you could monitor those inputs at the same time and then monitor the complete Robotiq cell. If we jump into the other section here, the logs, this one is pretty cool actually. So these are all the events, so you can filter what you desire. So if I put everything in there, so these logs, you're going to be able to see all the events that happen on the robot with the timestamp. So as you can see, cycle completed, empty box. So there's a few of them. What is very nice about this one also is that you can export them into CSV file. So let's say you have another monitoring system using a CSV file or Excel sheet, and you want to put everything back together, or just do whatever you want with those data. You can export them into CSV file and then use them as desired. Remote access, we're gonna get back to this a little bit later. If we jump into the backup section, so this one as well is pretty useful. So there's two options, so continuous backup and backup history. So continuous backup, basically, it's an option that you can set to on or off on the robot. So basically, every time you're gonna save something on the robot, everything will be back up in this web page in here. So everything will be available for you to download. So let's say you have a modification that has been done, but you need to recover something, you're gonna be able to download everything in here. Inside backup history, so this is another option inside the Teach pendant where you can manually back up your robot. So at the moment, I have two backup in this specific robot, so stacking and initial. So on the robot, you can create a manual backup, enter a title. So for these examples, stacking and initial were the two backup that were made. And from there, you will be able to do either just having a backup, or you could also do some versioning while you're creating your program, so you make sure that you don't lose anything. If someone modified a robot and something doesn't work anymore, again, you're going to be able to just retrieve your manual backup and then download, for example, okay, stacking URP, so that's going to be the program. You just hit the button download, and then you're able to recover it on the robot. From there, if we jump to the remote access, so I'm gonna pass the buck to Lance and George, who will be the one talking about that feature.
Okay, thank you, Marc-Antoine. Yeah, so kind of continuing on with Marc-Antoine's demo, what I have open on this screen here is if you were to click on the remote access tab from where Marc-Antoine was, you are able to launch a remote session with your universal robot. So this screen right here is a mirror image of the Teach pendant that is on the robot. So this is the Polyscope software that the UR operates on. So I am remoted into this UR5E behind me. As you can see, I've got a web camera on the robot, and I've got that web camera plugged into the controller of the robot. You can have up to 2 USB cameras plugged into the robot, and then your images are going to be displayed in this pane over on the side here. So what that enables you to do is, while you're controlling your robot, you can be watching it in real time, which is very cool. So I'm just jogging it, and you can see in the background the robot is following right along. I could also go in and do programming remotely. Anything that I could do from the Teach pendant, I can do here. So what I'm going to do now is ask that you kind of pretend that I am a technician working for a manufacturer, and I'm working remotely, and I'm going to start up a line. So I've gone into Robotiq Insights. I've opened up my robot program. I can see my robot here. I can see that it's clear and it's ready to start. So what I'll do is I'm going to hit play and drive my robot into its starting position and play. And what I see is that I've got an error popped up here. Gripper 1 is not activated. What I will do, since I know that I can get some support and get some other eyes on this to help me figure out this problem, is I'm going to call up a web meeting with my my local Olympus Controls robot specialist, George Bailey. So I am calling him up. Hey, George, can you hear me?
Hey, Lance, I can hear you. What's going on?
Hey, I'm working remotely today, and I just went to try to start up my robot line, and I hit play, and I'm having an error message pop up, and I'm not sure how to get past that.
Okay. Well, let me log in remotely to your robot. Do you mind passing me control?
No problem. 1 second here. Okay. You should have control of my screen, George.
All right. Yep, looks like I've got control. So is everything clear? Do you mind if I hit play on the program, see what's going on?
Yep, everything is clear of the robot. We've got safety zones in place. Go ahead.
All right. Okay, looks like your gripper's not activated. This is a problem I've seen before. So before you start your program, since you're getting started with a gripper open sequence, you need to make sure to activate your gripper. One way to do that is by hitting this UR plus tab and then just going ahead and pressing activate gripper. So now your program should run just fine. In order to prevent this from happening in the future, what we can do is go into your robot program, add a little before start sequence. And then right here, I can add a UR cap node with the gripper activate tool. So now basically every time you run your program, the first thing that will happen is the gripper will activate, and then you don't have to do it manually. It will just happen automatically. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play on your program and see if everything works properly.
Okay.
Looks like we're running. All right, pretty cool program you got there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right. Yeah, that's great. Much better. Okay, so can I just now save those? Can I just now save those changes that you made to my program?
Yep. So right at the top of your screen there, you can see the save button. You can pause your program and press that, and then you'll be good to go.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your help, George.
Yeah, you got it. Feel free to call me back if you have any more questions.
Okay. Okay. So it's just kind of an example of a real life scenario where this remote access tool could be very helpful. So shifting gears from the role of the remote technician, I'm now going to ask that you pretend that I am a person working at the factory around the robot, and I happen to get a little too close to my robot. And I bumped it, and you can see that the robot stopped, which is a feature of the cobot. So in reality, this person would probably sneak away, looking around to make sure that nobody saw them stop their robot. But luckily, as the technician, switching hats again to be the technician, I have set an alert so that if there's a protective stop on my robot, it will send me a text message. So you may have just heard my phone going off, and that's my text that was sent to me by the robot via Insights. So now I could go jump down in front of my screen and take a look here. Okay, I've got a protected stop. I'm going to enable my robot and continue on with my program. The amount of time that could have been wasted there could have been serious. You know, that robot could have sat for, I don't know, up to hours before it was reactivated. So just a couple examples of the power of this remote connectivity tool. So from here, I will pass the presentation back over to Josh Davis.
Awesome. Thanks, Lance. That's great demo, so appreciate it, guys. So again, if anyone has questions, feel free to ask. We're going to have some time, I think, to answer some of that after. But one of the things that I kind of want to leave you all with is, of course, we covered a lot of information within 30 minutes, right? I don't expect everyone to leave and be specialists. So we have created a Robotiq e-learning platform. So if you go to elearning.robotiq.com, you can actually jump into that, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. But you can take some courses so you can actually learn the setup process, know what hardware that you need. If you purchase a starter kit, you'll have kind of a how-to guide in there, how to set everything up. And of course, contact your local Olympus robot specialist, and they're the ones who you'll be working with to get all of this prepared and ready to go. And if anyone on the call is interested and wants to test, see if Insights is something that's going to work for them, we do have a 30-day free trial. So essentially, if you have a way of connecting your robot up to the internet, you can go right online, go to Robotiq support, which I'll show you how to find that as well. And you can download right on a USB, plug it into your controller, and you're good to go for a 30-day trial. So I will jump into the e-learning here so you guys can see that. So if we go to elearning.robotiq.com and you go into products, and then we jump into Insights, you will basically get lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you can take this when time allows, if anyone wants to jump on after our seminar here. So with that being said, I want to thank everyone for taking the time with us, and I think Silas, from here, I can kick it off to you guys, and if there's any questions, we can certainly address that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Josh. We do have some questions from the audience, so I'd love to get the panel to respond to those. Probably for Mark or Catherine, we had a question from Jonathan, and his question is, how do you face challenges for remote access when a user has an on-prem local setup that resists internet connection with this kind of technology and support control feature?
I can perhaps jump in for that question, Mark. Yep. Josh just quickly mentioned it. There is a Insights starter kit, which is a 4G modem, if you want. So there's a way to connect your robot temporarily with a SIM card that would allow you to get those remote connection without having to modify the current network of the plant. Don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, so I think your question is, if you don't have access through an Ethernet connection, your standard IT, then you do have a wireless scenario.
Exactly.
Okay, sounds great. This is a great question, I think, for everybody in the audience. What is the cost? I mean, there's a 30-day trial, which is great for testing this out, but what does this cost? Josh, can you answer that?
Oh, sorry guys, I was on mute there. Yep. So essentially, we have two main packages. We have our starter kit, which will come with the hardware that Catherine just addressed, and the starting cost is $2,100 per year per robot. So this is a per robot product. Or if you want access to just the license, that's $1,100 per year per robot. So I think if you look at the grand scale of things, it's relatively low cost to capture the ROI out of the price of the robot and all the accessories and whatnot.
Sounds good. A little bit of a follow-up question, probably more related towards the e-learning. There is a 30-day trial. Let's say somebody does not have a robot. Does the training allow you to develop and see how things work with a virtual robot on the training sessions?
So yes, the short answer is yes. So you're gonna have you can register to the Insights application on the web browser, and from there you're gonna have the Insights demo fake robot directly in there. So you're gonna be able to see the same information I was showing you earlier. So all the cycle completed, InfeedMT, so all these stuff will be in there.
Okay, sounds good. A couple other questions from the audience. Are there any other robots supported besides the universal robots, FANUC specifically?
At this moment, it's only available for UR.
Okay, sounds good. How many robots can we connect? Is it unlimited?
Like Josh mentioned, it's unlimited, but the pricing is per robot. So
Per
you
robot.
have unlimited data, unlimited number of users for data per robot, and the pricing is per robot.
Okay, that sounds great. Those are the questions that I have had. I did get some questions just on the overall webinar. If you can get a recording of this session, and that will be sent to all attendees, and we will also try to send that to even registered people in your companies that weren't able to attend today. With that, I think that concludes our webinar for today. Thank you for joining. Don't forget to join a new session coming up soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.